Welcome, Wrenching Rick's Garage. We started putting the 351 together. I got quite a few of my parts. Didn't have any come yet, but I'll show you what we got going on. I'm gonna get the clutch off the old motor, and make sure it looks good. Because if it's good, you know, we're on a budget here. We're gonna put that back on the other one. Start working on this bracketry, modifying this and that so it fits on the other motor because it has mechanical fuel pump, so on and so forth. And we're going to play around with this Demon carburetor to see if this fits. Stay tuned. Never had one of these before. It's a Demon carburetor. Small primaries, torque, fuel mileage with your big secondaries. They're not big, but they're big. Kind of mechanical secondaries, and then they have I forget, they have a special name for it. And you can adjust this stiffness on the side here. I don't know how it's going to work on this motor. It's also got a weird looking gasket. Yeah, it's wider here than here, kind of like a spreadboard. I don't know how it's going to work on here, but everything I read, most of the reviews I read, they said that this carburetor, you bolt it on, you might, goggle valve, I think they call it. You might have to tune the goggle valve and adjust the choke a little bit and fine tune your mixture, but other than that, they work, they're good to go. So we're going to find out. Stickers, awesome. 2 of them. They give you a massive book. They tell you air cleaner spacer, which I'm starting to think we may need one. Huge instruction book. That's pretty awesome. What do we got for goodies in here? There's plenty of places on this car for vacuum. Like I said, I'm in no way, shape, or form rating this carburetor yet. I've never used one. I mean, we'll definitely give our opinion once we use it and try it. They give you a 5/16 fuel inlet, which is probably the one we're going to use. Plenty of hardware. Okay, we're going to dump this out and watch it go all over the floor. I don't know if we got lucky or not. Throttle. This is so you can run a hard line here. I actually may use that instead. I like staying with hard line. Kick down. The ball, which is what we'll be using. Choke wire, all your basic stuff. Yep, it's all here. That's nice. So, we'll throw the studs in that motor and mount this, starting out with a 1-inch spacer with holes in it. Then again, I'm repeating myself, but when we initially built this motor, we used the stock intake and modified it heavily. This carburetor, the head porting, everything was designed for low-end torque because of what it was going to be put in. Well, that went to the wayside. That's another ongoing project. Maybe eventually I can bring you guys in on it. And that's getting a diesel. So, a lot of this stuff may not be adequate for this engine. It's going to still make gobs of torque, but the horsepower on the top side might not be as good now, which is fine. It could need an intake change at some point and different spacer carburetor, but if we do that, then this motor will get aluminum heads and the heads were on, and we'll just sell them. Because a set of aluminum heads in that motor would really wake it up. But right now we're working what we got with what we originally built. So I kind of got stickers. That's awesome. So let me grab a few things and we'll put these studs in. As you can see here, I'm trying to do this without a shadow. That works better. This had this configuration. Is exactly what this intake had. And what I had my buddy do is machine the ovals in it for to greater plenum volume, to increase the plenum volume is what I had done. So now when the air comes down here and on the back side, even here, it doesn't have to go down a straight hole before it turns. So there's more area for the air to turn easier. So then, by putting this on the top of that, what we accomplish is we get good airspeed through the venturis and the carburetor to increase torque, and then by opening this up here, it'll be able to turn around the corner better. And this intake actually has some fairly meaty runners in it, surprisingly, for stock. It's just that when they put the 4 holes here, that really hurts anything above like 3,500 because it just chokes it. So we increase this area by probably 35%. So hopefully that makes a difference. So what we're going to do, we're going to run these studs in. Hopefully these are the proper length. For high RPM power, I could have divided this center divider. I could have taken a little bit out of it, which I usually do, but unfortunately at the time, like I said, it was a different project. I wonder if I have steel. They gave all kinds of good stuff. No, we're not using them. They gave the cheapest carburetor nuts I've ever seen. Can you see how thin that is? Look at my brass nut. Wow, talk about chintzy. Unbelievable. Totally unbelievable. Not surprising. Put this on there and just give it a quick snugger. Snugged. Run this down. Make sure you don't drop anything in the holes. That would really not be good. Or anyway. Another 2 minutes, I'll have these done. And then we're going to take the clutch off. Snug you down. Tip for you. I could have been lazy and used a vice grip, but I wanted to show how I do this. And yes, I got brass nuts for the carburetor mounting. This has a stainless fastener kit on it. I can't remember who made it, but it's got, the oil pan is all stainless studs with washers and stuff, whatnot. The intake is all stainless Allen head. The valve covers are stainless Allen head, or wait a minute, let me see, what are the valve covers? Stainless studs in the valve covers. And that is a mosquito that I'm going to have to remove here in a minute. Yep, that would be bad dropping one of these down the intake, because the problem is they're brass, so a magnet will not find them. This intake was powder coated in town. It's gunmetal gray or something like that. Now, we're done with that. I'm not going to go really tight. But, well, you know what? Maybe I can. And I forgot, these lugs right here, there's one behind the distributor. We're going to use those to pick up the motor, so yeah, so I can. Okay, where'd you go? That be that. Oh. Where'd my light go? I want to double check my alignment here. I don't want any reversion. That'll be fine. Road pizza. You know, I wish I could put that open plenum on there that I have. Nope. We'll just make out with this. Everything fits. This intake's going to have to be cleaned. I'll show you what we got going on here. I got a massive bag of rags. I gotta go through those too. See how far down the runners are with that spacer on there? So that should promote quite a bit of airspeed, hopefully. Yeah, you can see it better. That's a nice drop right there. Then if needed, what we'll end up doing is underneath here, I'll show you again. Sorry folks, I just thought about it when I put it on. I was busy chasing another mosquito. Come on. Take a little more torque. What we'll do is I'll take about 1 inch here, maybe a little more, and I'll machine it down 1/4 of an inch, which will balance the high from the low down in the hole. It will balance the whole intake over, but in order for it to do that, it's got to come off. So I don't know if that's going to happen or not. Now you're on. I'm not liking this powder coating. Can you see that? Some of it wipes off, but I'm not liking this powder coating at all. Not at all. I mean, some of it is dirt and dust, but yeah, not caring for that. Not feeling that at all. And we'll take and throw this on. And I have just enough for my lock washers and my bolts. So, we'll get on taking off the flywheel next. Okay, get this off quick. I'm amazed this motor even ran when we took it out. It was overheated, I don't know how many times. Wow, brand new bolt. I'm impressed. Overheated how many times? Got like 250,000 on it. Come on, gather. And it ran when we pulled it. Don't ask me how. Not very good. Here you are. Now, come on. That clutch is usable. Yeah. We get some life out of it yet. For sure. When it fails, we'll just throw in the lip. Pressure plate just needs a little bit, what do you call on it? Yep. For a customer vehicle, I never do that, but for what we're doing, you'll be fine. Uh-oh, I guessed wrong. Wrong socket. Yes, and I know it's not an impact socket. But that one miraculously disappeared. So, this isn't recommended. Do not do what I'm doing. The only reason I'm even taking this flywheel off now I'm going to thread this one back in just a little bit. That way when the reason I'm taking it off, I need this plate behind it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be taking it off. hold it on the hub, and you take the last bolt out. And yes, a truck flywheel is bigger than like a 5.0 Mustang. Truck flywheel, I believe, will take a 10.5 or 11-inch clip, if I remember right. I don't feel like measuring it. 5.0 is 10 inch. This is what I needed. I'll just clean it up. That seal has to go in just a little bit more in that motor. So, I'm going to get that cleaned up. Put that in the other motor. I'm looking at this seal. I really think it should go in a little bit more. I don't think it's bottomed out. We did this, it was like dark when we did this, oh God, 2 years ago? Yes, this motor's been together this long. So I gotta see if I can find see if I have my tool, the 302 will also fit this. Probably not. I'm going to tap these. And all the bolts have to be cleaned. Any Loctite, anything on them. You want a true torque here. You don't want to play around. A lot of times machining, for some reason, you get little balls in here. Little metal balls. I don't know where they come from, or possibly shavings. But you always got to make sure that those are clean. So I'll run that tap through them. After you run these through the cheap poker. Hi, Triple X. Nothing fancy. Anything that's on them, you just want to get it off. Just like that. See the red? That's all Loctite. 302s, you gotta watch some of them. You actually have to put sealant on these bolts because the crankshaft is not a dead hole on the other side for the flywheel bolts. So you have to make sure you put sealant, whereas the 351 is a dead hole. On the other side is not an issue. So I just use regular Loctite on them. And if I remember right, they're torqued 75 to 85 foot-pounds, I think. Something like that. Ow, that was a fingernail. Now what I'll do is spray the tap a little bit. A little bit in each hole. Then I'll run the tap down through each one to clean them out. These are only chasers, so I'm not tapping any holes. I'm just chasing them. I'm already not liking this. Something's not kosher. So you get the gist of it anyway. There, you're not going to go in that far. Every time you use it, you want to run your nails down through it, give it another shot of WD. We're going to use it now. I'm going to run one of these bolts down through. Make sure we're good. That's the thickness of the flywheel. Yep, we're good. And I'll go all the way around and I'll do every one just like that. Two more. Whoop. One thing you gotta remember too, you're making almost a perfect seal with these threads, so if you can start running the tap in and it feels like it's fighting you, because you're creating a hydraulic lock from a WD-40, but I like to keep it lubed. And then when I'm done with them, I'll take brake clean, blow the holes out, so get all the chips out, get all the oil out, because remember, we're going to Loctite these, so you don't want WD-40 in there. See the bubbles? That's because there's a lot of WD in there. As long as you know you have the right tap, thread pitch and everything is right. Gets a little hard, don't get excited. I don't know if you can see it in camera, but I can see the bubbles coming out. You can see you do get some debris on it. Now we're going to stand back a little bit. But brake clean has a tendency to go everywhere. Why didn't I invent a lift for this? Now I'll leave that go. Let it dry out good. It won't take long. Just throw the flywheel on it. I don't have anybody to hold the front of the motor, so I'll get the flywheel on, get the mock-up done, and get my kid to come over tomorrow after work to hold that harmonic balancer so I can tighten this flywheel, and then we'll be done. Oh, something I wanted to tell you. This plate, don't know why Fords have it, but if you don't put it in, it'll mess up the starter engagement where it engages the flywheel. It'll change the depth and it will mess up the world, believe me. I'm going to wrap this part of the video up. I'm going to finish cleaning that polishing the flywheel up, getting all the whatever's on it off. whatever's on it, I'm going to get off. Maybe I should turn my light off. That would help. Hello. And I'm going to start doing a mock-up on the brackets. I'll try to bring you in for that when I start on it. So I got to do some modifying with them because of the mechanical fuel pump. I know everybody's like, electric. No, we do old school here. I like old reliable. I don't like having to worry about it. Just like the fan. Mechanical clutch fan, mechanical fan, clutch fan, the extra blades on it. That way I don't have to worry about if it's starting, if it's not starting, when it's going to turn on. I'm just old school. So if anybody comments about it, that's why. That's the way we do it. If it ever gets to a point he goes to a full race truck, well, now we're talking something a little different. But this is a street vehicle, so we stay old school with it. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, help me out. Have a good night.